One of the reasons that linking and embedding works so well within MongoDB is because of the existence of a feature called multi-key indexes. I'm going to talk a little bit about multi-key indexes and why they're so useful within MongoDB. Now let's say you had a schema that included students and teachers, and this is a schema that we've seen before. And these are two example documents from these collections. The students collection might have a separate document for each student with a unique underscore ID, a name for each student, and a key for the teachers where the value is a list of the underscore ID values for all the teachers that the student has. And on the other side, we have this teachers collection, which has a document for each teacher with a unique underscore ID, an integer value, and a name for each teacher. And here you can see we have Tony Stark is the only teacher in the collection right now. And so this says right here that Andrew has had 4 teachers and that one of them is Tony Stark. Now there are two possible queries, or I should say 2 obvious queries. And one is, how can I find all the teachers that a particular student has had? And the other is, how can I find all the students who have had a particular teacher? Now let's go over the first one, which is, how do I find the teachers for a particular student? Now that one is straightforward because I can simply search this collection. I can query the students collection. I could do db.students.find. I can specify the student I'm looking for and then return the teacher's key with its values, and then I'll know the teachers. But what about finding all the students who've had a particular teacher? That's a more difficult query. That query is going to use our set operators. And in order for that to be efficient, we need to be able to use an index, and it's going to be a multi-key index that makes this possible. So let me show you in the shell how this looks. Alright, so we have 2 different collections already set up here. We have a students collection and we have a teachers collection. Here's a students collection and here's the teachers collection. And we can see that the students collection has a list of students, including myself and the teachers that I had. And here in the teachers collection, we have a list of professors. And these are the professors that were teaching when I was at Stanford. And we can see that, for instance, I had the teachers 0 and 1, which are Mark Horowitz and John Hennessy. Now, if we wanted to add a multi-key index on this teacher's key, we could do it as follows. db.students.ensureIndex teachers1. And we haven't gone over indexes yet, but this is how you'd create them. And now the shell returns information that before there was 1 index, which was the index on underscore ID, which is in every collection, and now there are 2. And now we're going to do a query that's going to use that index and be efficient. So let's find all the students who had Mark Horowitz and John Hennessy as professors. So Mark Horowitz is 0 and John Hennessy is 1. So we'll db.students.find teachers $all. There we go. So now we do a query and we ask, find me all the students that had both 0 and 1 in their teacher's value. And we find that it's me, Andrew Ehrlichson, and it's also Richard Kreuter. He has also 0 and 1 in the teacher's value. Now the question is, how do we know that that used an index? Well, there's a little command we haven't talked about yet, but it works like this. We can append explain at the end of this query, and if we append explain at the end of this query, it will tell us what it did when it was performing the query. And if we do that, we can see here that it returns a bunch of information, but what it tells us is that it used the btree cursor teachers_1 index, which is a multi-key index. And that's how multi-key indexes work and why they make linking and embedding an efficient way to represent information within MongoDB when you query it.